Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Album of the Week. So a couple of videos ago, my good friend John left a comment asking me what I listen to whilst I'm working. I thought it sounded like a good idea for a recommendation, so that's what we're going to do today. Let's get to it. So before we get into it, if you haven't seen any of my previous videos, you're not quite sure what this channel's about, please click on the link above and that will take you to my first video that explains everything that we're doing. As always, like, comment and subscribe because it really goes a long way to help me out. So the question of what I listen to whilst I'm working. So whenever I'm reading something quite heavy and I've got a lot of information to take in, I don't really listen to anything. I like to keep that open and I like to keep a clear head. But whenever I'm doing any other work, like any of data manipulation, or if I'm doing some repetitive tasks and your mind is free to kind of be open to some other external factors, then yes, absolutely, I have music on in the background. And I prefer something of the classical, orchestral, or maybe operatic variety because I feel it kind of really opens the space in the room and allows me to think. So the album I'm going to be recommending today is by a lady called Lucienne Renaudin. She is a French artist, and this particular album is called The Voice of the Trumpet from 2017. Lucienne is a 24-year-old trumpet player who's been playing since the age of 9, and she has won multiple awards and accolades throughout her career. One of the highlights being the French Victoire de la Musique, which for those of you that don't know is the equivalent of the Grammys or the Brit Awards. She's gone on to record multiple albums, including one with the BBC Philharmonic Orchestra in 2019. And the wonderful thing about this album is that Lucienne plays a crossover from classical and jazz. And she's an astonishing trumpeter that has been astounding audiences for years. She's been winning competitions since she's 11, and she's gone on to create several albums of her own, which this is one of her best. This album, The Voice of the Trumpet, is actually her debut album. And one of the great things I love about this is that it mixes some unknown tracks with tracks that will surprise you in that you will know them. So as you're making your way through this album, something will jump out at you and go, yes, I recognise this. So it's really nice that there's that crossover of musical elements that you're going to recognise, but also some items in there that you're not familiar with. Makes the album really approachable. It allows you to really jump in and not feel daunted by the fact that you're just listening to an album that you're not really familiar with. One of the reasons I love listening to classical music whilst I'm working is because there's been several studies out there, and you can just go and Google them for yourselves, that link listening to classical music improves cognitive brain function, reduces stress and anxiety, and also improves your memory, which when you're in a working environment can be really, really helpful and allows your brain to kind of step into that working mode without any distractions. I always find that if I have something on in the background that has vocals to it, then those vocals start to distract me, and I start losing my concentration, which is why I love this genre of music. I always find that digital music services categorize certain music incorrectly or label it specifically just because of the type of instruments on there. So this on Apple Music has been labelled as classical, which I think almost gives it a little bit of an injustice. I'd probably put it in the orchestral and the jazz area actually. I think there's a lot more to it than just classical. One of the fantastic things about this album is if you actually do sit down and listen to it properly, it takes you on a journey. So you'll find yourself one minute just sitting relaxed in your warm, cosy house. Next minute, your mind will just take you off to driving down a beautiful coastal road in the middle of Italy. It has that kind of powerful effect on it. Whichever way you take this album, whether you're going to listen to it whilst you're working or whether you actually have the time and the space and the capacity to listen to it as a full album all at once, I think it'll probably bring out some fantastic memories and emotion for you. The way Lucienne plays this instrument, although it looks and seems quite simple, is intensely complicated. And she plays it with such effortless charm, and it's a beautiful album to listen to. So my standout track for this week is track number 4, Variations on Casta Diva. Wait for the ending, it's going to blow you away. Best listen to? Well, the reason we're reviewing this album is because we were looking for something to work to, but I've also had this on in the car driving to and from work, and I arrive at my destination a lot more calm, a lot more relaxed. and ready and focused for the day. So to sum this album up, it's an eclectic array of music, some of which you'll be familiar with, and I challenge you to step outside your comfort zone if this is not a genre you're normally comfortable with, and really delve straight into this. I think you're going to find it a really charming album to listen to. So if you like this video and you like this recommendation, please hit the thumbs up button below. But if you love music and you want to continue to get recommendations like this, hit the subscribe button. It lets me and YouTube, the algorithm, know that you're enjoying these videos. So until next time, thanks for watching. Appreciate your time and keep listening.